Welcome to another episode of Grand Football TV, and it is yours truly again, Mr. Chicks. If you're just joining us for the first time, you are welcome. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. So we are going to be looking at Game Week 6 and a few of us and our predictions. But before we do that, let's look at Game Week 5. And before we look at Game Week 5, this week, let's give a shout out to Ousmane Dembele, who has won the Ballon d'Or. Out of all the people nominated, he is the one who has been crowned the Ballon d'Or winner for 2024-2025, I believe. So well done to him. And we had Carabao Cups all through midweek. There were no major upsets, I believe. There was no major upset. All the teams you expected to go through, the Premier League teams, most of them went through. The ones that didn't were playing themselves. So a good week for those who have gone through, which we might be talking as we go along. But before we do that, let us look at Game Week 5. How did you do in Game Week 5? Did you get all the predictions correct? I didn't, so I don't think you did. But let's go through it. It started off with Liverpool versus Everton. Liverpool beating Everton 2-1. Everton tried their best to try and equalize, but it just didn't happen. So well done to Kiki and Michael, who got the correct score of 2-1 to Liverpool, winning that one. And the next game was Bournemouth versus Newcastle. That game finished 0-0. No one predicted 0-0 because everyone expected goals in that game. So no one predicted 0-0 for that one. Brighton versus Tottenham. That game finished 2-2. Credit to Tottenham. They came back from a 2-0 loss to draw the game 2-2. So well done to them. And shout out to Kiki again and OK. And yours truly. This was the only one I got, I believe. This is the only correct prediction I got for Game Week 5. So well done to us for getting 2-2 as the correct score. Burnley versus Nottingham Forest. The game finished 1-1. And shout out to a few people. David, Dion, and Yema, they all got the correct score for that one. Well done to them for predicting the score to finish 1-1 in that game. West Ham versus Crystal Palace. West Ham, there's a lot going on there. They're not winning games. Their manager is under a lot of threat to be sacked, but you have to keep going. They lost this one 1-2. So Crystal Palace beat West Ham away from home 2-1. And shout out to Osita, Chris, Dion, and Temitayo. They all got the correct score of 2-1 to Crystal Palace in this game. Wolverhampton versus Leeds. I thought Wolves would come out all guns blazing in this game because their manager had just signed a new contract. So also their player has signed a new contract, Strand Larsen. So I thought they'll be buoyed and all fired up for the game. But I don't know what happened in the game. I didn't see the game itself really, but I saw the highlights. But they just didn't take their chances. And they lost the game 3-1 to Leeds. What a good win for Leeds as well, winning away from home. And shout out to David. David predicted that scoreline of 3-1 to Leeds. So well done to David. Manchester United versus Chelsea. A game where a lot of people thought Chelsea would do the business. Chelsea would go to Old Trafford. Based on how bad Man United have been lately, they would go there and win. But the reverse was the case, guys. Manchester United won the game 2-1 at home. Yeah, well, it's mainly down to Maresca's substitutions and an early red card in the game, you could say. But shout out to David again and Dion. They both got that correct score of 2-1 to Manchester United. Fulham versus Brentford. Brentford. That game finished 3-1. Fulham were actually losing in the game, but they came back and they won comfortably. So well done to them. And we'll give a shout out to Chris. Chris was the only one who predicted a 3-1 win for Fulham. Sunderland versus Aston Villa. Sunderland versus Aston Villa finished in a draw. That game finished 1-1. And we have someone who predicted the correct score. OK Chuku. OK, well done to OK for getting the correct score for that game. Yeah. And the final one for game week 5, the big one, Arsenal versus Manchester City. Yeah, the less said about that game, the better. But Arsenal and Manchester City finished in a 1-1 draw. Yeah. And shout out to Timmy Zach, who got the correct score for that game. So well done to him. It's interesting because apart from the Bournemouth Newcastle game, all the panel, someone got the correct score, which is quite unusual. We'll probably get like 3 or 4 games, but in this time we had like 9 games where people predicted the right score. So well done to the panel. You're doing well. You're doing well, guys. You're doing well. Yeah. Okay, so we'll quickly go to game week 6 now. Let's look at game week 6 and let's look at the games that we have coming up and what our predictions are for this game. Well, we have a few people who have sent in their predictions. Osita, Chris, and OK. So as well as mine, we'll be looking at what we have predicted for game week 6. So we're starting off with Brentford versus Manchester United. Big game, the Mbomo derby. Yeah, Mbomo's going back to Brentford where he made a lot of, he made his name, scored a lot of goals. Yeah, we'll see how this one pans out for him. Does he go there and he gets shut out, or he goes there and he has his best game in a Man United shirt? Only time will tell. I think the latter will probably be the case because he knows that team inside out. So I'm going to go for Manchester United to win the game 3-2 away from home. And Osita thinks that Brentford will win 2-1. Chris thinks Man United will win 3-1. And OK also thinks that Man United, well, he's a Man United fan, so no surprises there. He's gone for Man United to win 3-1 as well. Chelsea versus Brighton. I'm not going in the right order, guys. I'm just calling out the different teams, yeah? So don't worry if it's not the next game that should be called. Chelsea versus Brighton. I see this one. Well, this is another derby, the João Pedro derby. Yeah, João Pedro entertaining his former team at Stamford Bridge. Yeah, he'll probably score in this game. I'm hoping he does because I've got him in my FPL. In fact, I think I have made him captain, if I'm not wrong, because I didn't really want to change that many people. So I just put João Pedro as captain. Hopefully he delivers against his former team. Yeah, and I'm going for Chelsea to win 2-1 against Chelsea. Osita thinks 2-1 as well. Well, no surprises there. He's a Chelsea fan. Chris thinks 3-2. Chelsea would win 3-2. But OK thinks that Brighton could pull up a surprise and get a 1-0 win away from home. Interesting. We'll see how that one pans out. Okay. Crystal Palace versus Liverpool. A big game. Crystal Palace apparently haven't lost in 17 games. So it'll be interesting to see how this one goes, if they can make sure they don't lose in this game as well. So I'm going to go for a draw. I feel like they will probably not lose again in this one. Liverpool have been playing well, won all their 5 games, but this might be a different kind of test. Glasner's a good coach, so he'll set his team up well to make sure they try not to lose the game. Yeah, and Ekitike for Liverpool will not be playing, obviously after his antiques in the Carabao Cup where he got himself sent off. He will not be playing. So the much awaited debut for Alexander Isak will be happening against Crystal Palace. So we'll see if he's able to get himself goals and win the game for his team. I'm going for a 2-2 draw, like I said. Osita thinks Liverpool would win 4-2. And Chris and OK share the same sentiment. They think Liverpool would win 2-1. Yeah. Leeds versus Bournemouth. Leeds will be buoyed by that win away from home when they went to Wolves. So you would expect them to go, come to their ground and make sure. Well, they haven't even lost the season yet on their ground. So I'm seeing this game as it being their first loss. Because Bournemouth, they're not playing. So I think Bournemouth will go there and grind a result. So I think Bournemouth will get a slim win, a 1-0 win away from home. That is what I think. No, a 2-1 win, sorry. A 2-1 win away from home. That's what I've gone for. And Osita is sitting on the fence on this one. He is going for a 2-2 draw. And Chris thinks Bournemouth to win 2-0. But OK thinks it will end in a 1-1 draw. Yeah. Manchester City versus Burnley. Man City, Burnley, they always know how to play against Burnley and beat Burnley. They haven't beat them, I don't even think they have from the starts. But this game, I see Burnley losing to Man City by 3-0. Man City winning the game 3-0. And almost all across board, we have gone for 3-0. Osita has gone for 3-0. Chris has gone for 3-0. But OK has gone for 2-0. 2-0 in this one. Nottingham Forest versus Sunderland. They had a midweek Europa League game as well. They played really well, although they drew the game eventually against Real Betis. But they gave a good account of themselves. So that's why I'm going to give them a win in this game, because Ange is due a win now since he's taken over as the manager at Nottingham Forest. So I'm going to give Ange the win, and it's a 3-0 win. Sunderland have played well as well this season, but this might be a game where it just maybe mistakes would cost them a lot in the game and they'd lose. So I'm going for a 3-0 win to Forest. Osita thinks they would win 2-1. Chris thinks they would win 3-2. And OK thinks they would win 2-1 as well. So all across board, everyone thinks a Nottingham Forest win in that one. Tottenham versus Wolves. Tottenham versus Wolves. I see this one being a tight game. A game where Wolves will probably want to get a win, that first win that they so desire. They'll probably just fall short. It's well, as I'm speaking, I feel like I should change my prediction to a win for Wolves, because they're due a win. 5 games, no win, no, not even a draw, 5 losses. So they got themselves a win in the Carabao Cup against Everton, which would probably boost their confidence. But this game, they'll probably just be a tad short. So I'm going to go for Tottenham to win 2-1. Osita thinks the same, so does OK. They think it will finish Tottenham 2-1. But Chris thinks Tottenham would win 3-0. 3-0. Aston Villa versus Fulham. Another team who's due a win. They haven't won all season, Aston Villa. So I think Fulham's a difficult game, but I'm not sure how good they are on the road. So I feel that they would go to Villa and Villa would beat them 3-1. Villa to win 3-1. Osita thinks Villa would win 2-0. And OK thinks it will finish 1-1. And Chris thinks that Fulham will actually beat Villa at home 2-1. Interesting. We'll see how it goes. Newcastle versus Arsenal. The big game of the weekend. A star game. And Arsenal have to turn up. So I'm just going to stick my head out and say Arsenal would win. And win by 2-0. 2-0. Our defense has been good. You know, we've only conceded 2 goals all season. And only 1 from open play. So I see this one being another tight game. The defense doing what they need to do. And if they remember last season, they'll probably try and make sure they come out of here with a win. So I'm going to go for Arsenal to win 2-0. Yeah. Osita thinks Arsenal would win 2-1 as well. Chris thinks Arsenal would win 3-1. But OK thinks Arsenal would lose 2-1 to Newcastle. We'll see how that one goes. And the final game for game week 6. Everton versus West Ham. Everton, I'm going to go simply for a 1-0 win. It'll be a tight game because West Ham also, they're looking for a win. They're trying to make sure they get that win. They've got 1 win under their belt, the win against Nottingham Forest. And Everton, they lost in midweek in the Carabao Cup. So this game, I see them wanting to make amends. So I see them beating West Ham 1-0. Osita thinks they'll win 2-0. OK thinks they'll win 2-1. And Chris thinks they will draw 2-2. What are your predictions, guys? Yeah, let us know in the comment section. Yeah, so thank you for joining us. Like I said earlier, if you're joining us for the first time, do not forget to like, share, and subscribe. Like the video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now, guys.
Don't check this.